And for more on voting rights, let's bring in ABC's political director, Rick Klein. Good to see you, Rick.
Hi, Lindsay. Good to be with you.
We've been talking certainly a lot about the legislative fight, but let's take a step back at this point. Which voting rights are really Democrats most concerned about at this point? And if you can, give us some specific examples as far as how difficult it can be to vote in some states.
Right. Not all 19 states that Rachel talked about have done the same thing. Some have cut back on the number of hours that you can vote early. Some have made it a little more onerous to vote absentee, changed some of the places that ballot drop boxes and the like can be. But other states have gone quite a bit further than that. In Georgia, for instance, they've cut back on the number of hours that are available. They have also criminalized the concept of bringing assistance to people that are waiting on a line. So even bringing food or water to a voter in an urban precinct online for a long period of time could potentially be considered a crime. And in Texas, where people are already asking for ballot applications for the March 1st primary, there's a new requirement that when you mail in that request, that you have documentation that matches up exactly to state records. So the last 4 digits of a social security number or a date of birth. If that doesn't match precisely with how you originally registered to vote with the state, then they are required by state law to reject that application. That's why in big cities like Houston, San Antonio, Austin, the clerks are telling us between a quarter and a third of the ballot applications are rejected under this new state law.
But how far does the Democrats' legislation go in addressing these concerns?
It creates a national standard for mail-in voting. It allows everyone the opportunity to vote by mail, which not all states allow at the current time. It also creates a federal holiday of Election Day, which would alleviate some of those very long lines if everyone or more people had it off as a holiday day. It also allows the Justice Department a lot more leeway in terms of how they would pursue any efforts to disenfranchise voters. It would give a lot of powers back to the federal government, and it would create a national standard that would probably make it a lot easier overall for people to vote, though in the view of some Republicans, it could make it easier to cheat.
Of course, Republican leaders say that the voting laws that we're talking about aren't too restrictive and that they're needed to protect election integrity. Senator Mitch McConnell accuses the Democrats of what he calls fake hysteria over our voting system. What's their argument? Is it a fair one?
Well, what is fair is that historically, the voting rights and the opportunity to vote has been different state by state. States have guarded the right to vote. Now, they have some of them taken it too far, and that's why the federal voting rights legislation of the 1960s came into play. A lot of the changes, Lindsay, that are happening now are actually just rolling back some more liberal laws that were put in place during COVID when people were worried about lockdowns and how that would impact things, just kind of going back to pre-COVID times. But I think the broader concern that Democrats raise is that so many of these new laws were inspired by the big lie about the last election, even if their impact may not be tailored to trying to respond to the concerns that Trump falsely played into. A lot of the political energy has been behind that. So as Republicans will say that, yes, there hasn't been this evidence of fraud in the past, they're actually making an argument against the bills that are being passed with the inspiration and the backing of many people who continue to support the mistruths about the last election and followers of President Trump.
And just about out of time, but do want to ask you, Rick, of course, as you know, this legislation has almost no chance of passing. Do you think that the Democrats will get another opportunity to get a substantial election bill through Congress anytime soon, or is this potentially the end of the road on this issue for the foreseeable future?
Realistically, this is it. It's not just the politics, Lindsay, it's the calendar. The fact that voting takes place in Texas in about a month and other states start to have their primaries. The maps are in place under the new congressional district writing, and the applications are being printed as we speak. It is functionally already pretty much too late to do anything about these new state laws.
All right, Rick Klein, our thanks to you.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.